Rearranging the HackMatrix studio today, as I do every day, but today I would like to actually move this desk. This kind of seems like a big mistake, but I want to move the desk out of the space. Goodbye, desk. The reason is because I want my desk, or my laptop, which is right there, to hang from the ceiling. Uh-oh, it's going to flip. Okay, hang from the ceiling, right there. Well, specifically, actually, I want a crane right in that corner over there. I'll show you the design in a moment on my iPad. Actually, I can show the design right now. Give me 1 second. There is some plant material on my iPad that must be removed. One brief moment. Okay. Ace, the helpful place, or the magic place. Okay, so let me move this over here. Get a good shot. So I want a crane that looks like this. Laptop hangs from an arm that is like parallel to the ceiling up there, with like another side arm that can move that arm. There's going to have to be some breaking of the parallel symmetry up there as the arm extends and lowers, or change height or whatever. I haven't figured out the dynamics of that yet. It doesn't really matter much. What matters is that I have a thing that suspends my laptop. And that matters because I am going to move the desk. That's why that matters. I'm also going to flip the camera around so I can see better. So that's what we're doing today on this stream, and just generally picking it up. I moved cardboard and that. I just did some landscaping outside, actually. I want robots to do landscaping, by the way. That's one of the parts of the content of this channel and my idea for HackMatrix. If you saw in a previous video, the Grow Eco Gardening book is actually part of the theme of HackMatrix, or for the theme of the MMO inspired by campaign builders, castles, and crowns. But it's going to be cybernetic castles with engineered robot things that garden for bees and such. Anyways, let's see if we can compose a decent shot of the place where I'm going to do this work here. I think it might be advantageous to see my dog's face too. Okay, so if I'm going to try to visualize my dog, or see my dog while I'm working here, it's probably best to get on his level. Don't you think? Okay, just like that. That looks good to me. So we can see, maybe not that level. There we go. Like that. Perfect. And so you can see the, what is that? That's the desk that we need to remove, and the laptop that will eventually suspend from like paracord or something on an arm. So let's take care of this. So I try to keep this room single use. So it's all HackMatrix room. And I live in it. I live in it as a studio, just this room. Although I have a kitchen and a bathroom in other places. But this is, I try to live like an artist in a studio. So I put this curtain up here. I even put the couch right there so I can't go into the room. I just did that a few minutes ago. It was actually for my dog. I wanted to keep him out of this room so I could go out and use the weed whacker. But besides the point, that's not the point of the stream at the moment. Okay, so I moved the desk over here. It's a terrible spot for it. I was like, maybe that's a good spot for it. This room is in rearrangement. It served as my OG bedroom in the HackMatrix house, which is what I'm now taking to calling this house. Actually, I call it many names, but this is definitely the HackMatrix studio, though. Anyways, this is becoming sort of a storage area or a staging area, an intermediate zone. Also where I store my bike and my backpack. But this is not good design. Look at how it sits in the mat, and it prevents the door from opening, specifically that cabinet door there. And I don't really want feet on the mat permanently. I mean, this actually looks like the type of mat that you don't want feet on at all. At least no shoes, right? So this has to go. The curtain's too short, so I keep this up here. So this has to stay. But it has to balance. There we go. Okay, so where does this go? Could put it there, that blocks the entryway. Could put it there, no space. It was upstairs originally. This corner may seem like a suitable location, although I think it might block the bike. But it also will provide a spot for the bike wheel to sit if I continue to arrange it like this. And this bike is relatively new in this spot anyways, so let's back it up. And then pop its front tire. No, pop the back tire up, that's what I meant. Pop the front tire brake, front wheel brake. Okay, table goes here. I was left with an abundance of furniture in various states. This was a mirror. I popped the mirror out. There's a robot that may do some gardening and such at some later date. But I think we can see the spot where the desk is supposed to go, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Zeus sits in his folded up futon mattress bed. You're okay, Zeus. You can stay. I'm leaving it there for a moment because I want to show you something interesting about the house. You can see a pipe sticking out of the floor. I think this is for the radiator, which you can see the radiator lines of what used to be the radiator with a fireplace downstairs. However, you can see through the window here, maybe I can actually get it to focus, my helmet sitting on the basement floor. That's actually a hilarious screenshot. I'm going to take that screenshot. One moment. Oh, it's difficult to fix this. Okay. There we are. Okay, so I do just have some random holes in the house. But you can see how thick the floor is, which is pretty cool. So that's the floor beam, I guess. Anyways, I don't think this is the right spot for this. Specifically, I don't think that this gap here is correct. So I only kept the gap so I could show you that cool feature. Holes in the floor, maybe for wires, maybe for robotic nervous system of the house. Okay, so I'm going to move this. Although I do like this sort of, this could be a loading zone for my bike. So putting a bike here, actually, if I put the bike here, would sort of mess up the usage of the surface of the table, which may not be something I want. I think the bike may be able to find another home. There's actually a side loading door that may work for a bike. I just like going out my front door for taking the Zeus out. Let's see what this. So there's 3 coffee tables, or table-like things. All of these left by the previous owner. All of them now in this room here. Plus a kitchen sink, or a bathroom sink, which I'm using as another table. A tabletop with some legs that don't exist. A mirror thing, and they left a couch too. And a treasure chest, let's call it that. I don't know the best location for this table, but I still like the aesthetic I chose, like in the beginning of the video, or when I first moved it, when I first placed it and said we have to move this again. So let me move the table further into the corner and then set the bike up and see how that looks. Yeah, it definitely makes the area look cluttered. I don't like it much there. And yet, I don't know where to put it. Maybe I can put it over there with the other table. You can just have 2 tiers of tables there. Okay, so the balance feels a little off there, but I don't know, sticks out pretty far, sticks out a little, sticks out even taller, and it's like the height is trading off for the depth. So it's like monotonically increasing height, monotonically decreasing depth. I think that's a kind of a cool pattern, I'll keep it. It doesn't look too aesthetically pleasing, but it allows my bike to be freed up into this corner here. So I'll put the bike back. And then we'll go back to the focus of the video, which is the HackMatrix studio itself, which is in a bit of disrepair. I think I want to make this piece of wood thing, this raft, basically, or the pallet that I made. I want to make this the centerpiece, I think. Because I have actually started to think about like attaching things to it, and I think I want to build out from it, and so this can just be like the heart of the room or something. And I'll just build like a little core that then expands out into a room and then can compress into a core, and then you can move it, which would to me kind of seem like the ability of a mollusk to go into a shell and then expand into it and grow, and then leave the shell and then go to another shell. So it needs the ability to become mobile, like a mobile room that can then expand into whatever room shell it wants to expand into, I think is the primary sort of modus operandi of this particular studio. because it is going to move a lot, I believe. I think any place I stream, and I'm going to stream wherever I go, is going to be considered the HackMatrix studio. So whatever is the HackMatrix studio has to come along for the ride. And so that means it has to, I'll probably have varying degrees of loadouts with like different sizes. But if I get a van, then I can transport this thing. Although taking something this size into a hotel just to do a stream would be pretty insane. That's like a full like move. So I don't know exactly where I'm going with that, but regardless, if I have a full room, I'm going to have this sort of movable interior that I can then transplant to other rooms, even if it just stays in the house for now. Although I can move it between houses. I spent $20,000 for this house, and so if I go and purchase, I don't know, let's say 10 more of these houses, then I will equal the price of a standard home, but then I'll have 10 houses that I can move between, which would be pretty cool, especially if I have the houses purchased in other states. So, but for now, I'm just building this interior of this room. Okay, so I think for the stream's purposes, we probably want a high-level sort of view of the room itself, so that way we can easily see the design choices I'm making. So like I said, I want the palette, I guess, that I built, which is going to start having extensions and something, to be the centerpiece of the room. And maybe in order to get that perspective, which I probably can't keep long term because I have nothing to mount this on as far as I can tell, maybe I can set it on my couch. It's not really in the center of the room at the moment, so I think that probably should change. And I also want to move that probably out. I'll just move it to where the broom is. Okay, so this is actually a light reducer. At night, I actually like keeping the lights from going outside, but it's not used in the day, and it's also ugly. But it can go under the couch. That's actually I mean, it's kind of an ugly place, ugly thing to keep around, but it can go maybe under the couch. I'll keep a little tab of it out so I remember that it's there, because I'll forget about it and then not put that out there. Hello there. Is that for photographing? Video. Yeah. Photographing and video, actually. Both. Streaming, though, mostly. But it's meant for, it's a desk, basically. It's I take photos of HackMatrix stuff, and so it's like a streaming platform, like HackMatrix YouTube channel streaming platform, basically. Sorry about all the movement. I'm just trying to get this stable on the couch here. It's a bit difficult with this janky tripod. It's like nothing I try works here. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, I think I've got it now. Zeus. Okay, so I'm going to move this. Here's my laptop desk. so I have a laptop and a dog here. So I think probably the best way to move this, it reminds me of the game, if you've ever played that game where there's cars that are parked on a board. It's like a board puzzle. And there's cars parked on it, and you have to move the cars to unpark them all, but it's like a traffic jam, so you have to like move everything out of the way. So in that regard, I will have to move this box forward first before I move it sideways, because it's blocked by my dog and my laptop there, and I'm not going to move those. But before I do that, it keeps a brush here. I actually like wood floors. I think they're easier to clean. If you just think about how simple their surface is, and you can sweep them, get a robot to sweep them, it's a bit more difficult with carpet where dirt gets embedded. Although I do use rugs here sometimes. I can show that in a moment. I make the floor barren in the morning after I wake up, and then progressively make it softer until it becomes a bed, and then I sleep. That's basically the flow. So I'll put rugs on the floor in a moment. Maybe in a few hours or something. Maybe not on the stream. But there's a white rug and I'll probably just keep the white rug. Okay, gotta sweep everything out of the way of the moving, I don't know what to call it, but it reminds me of, conceptually it reminds me of the van that I lived in when I was in college. So I purchased a van and named it Rouge, and then I gave it like an AI personality. This was in 2013, I believe, 2014, and it had text to speech. And so it was like, I downloaded Atlas Shrugged, and then had the van read Atlas Shrugged in it. It was kind of fun. I had it was powered by Arch Linux. I had basically an Arch Linux gaming computer inside the laptop, or inside the van. And an extension cable running out of it, so I could park the van anywhere I want to. I'm going to throw this dirt outside because there's a spider in it. My dog's going to go outside. The door is crowded over here for a specific reason. I don't know if you can even see it. Chat. Saw me trip on that. Yeah, so it's crowded over there because I was trying to block the door for my dog. So first I put the couch up. I put a couch up right here, and I put him over there, and he jumped over the couch and ran out the door, and I had to chase him. But then what I started to do is I pulled the top tab of the backpack that you carry it by under the door, and then I used it as like a door wedge stop to try to keep him out. But eventually I'm probably just going to build a gate out front. I shouldn't have removed this from this. It took so long last time to get this set up. But maybe I'll get progressively better at it. Boom. Perfect. Maybe. Okay, so I'm going to move the box forward now. I think that's the strategy. It may fall apart. I need to get bigger nails for it. I just tapped it in place and it's sort of janky. Oh gosh, I don't even know what surfaces I have access to push on. But there are two parallel boards here that I think I can use. Okay, so I'm going to clear the laptop here, if you can see the laptop, I'm not sure if you can. Perfect, okay. I need to get wheels for it. Motorized wheels. Wish you get 100K subs, says Comported Box. Thank you. Okay, so now there are two planks that run and meet up against these two planks, so I can push on these two planks to push the box that way. This is a dimension I'm concerned about though, because this is the torque lateral stability dimension thing. Basically, this is probably the most likely dimension, the way I'm pushing it, for the box to just fall and flatten. So it's not really something I want that to do. I'm going to push it just slightly further this way, and then maybe a little back, but I think this is actually a good spot for it. Actually, so I have noticed, so when I move things in a room, I actually like to keep some things stationary. And so that laptop, I should move everything around it. The backpack and the power and the cards that it sits on, and sweep up around it. You can't even really see the laptop all that well, but it's the thing right in the corner there. So that is going to be an anchor point. I laid it down just momentarily before I moved this in a coincidence, and it seems like a good anchor point to sort of revolve the centerpiece around. So I'm not going to move it. I'm going to sweep everything away from it, and then I'm going to aesthetically line this thing up with it. You can see the corners sort of, the box is farther ahead than the laptop, so I'm going to take care of that. But first I'm going to sweep everything. And my power cable, just organize everything around this. Okay. So now, like I said, the box is a little too far this way, towards me, and so I'm going to push it. I think it ran into some resistance back here, because it's running across some diagonally slatted boards, so I'm just going to lift that up. I felt the resistance. May have been sap or something. Right, you want to help me, Zeus? Still feel some resistance, not sure why. Not sure what it's sitting on. It may be that I just won't be able to move it. I'll try to use my feet. There we go. And I'm doing it like this because there's two support boards right here and right here. Bruh. Does stream see this? Do you guys see this? Bruh. Zeus. Please. Please move. Back up. Bruh. Okay, so I think that's pretty perfectly aligned, although I want to push it towards the laptop there. Because I think the amount of space right here should be increased from the wall to the box. So I'm going to take care of that. Okay, there we go. So now if we look at it, it's kind of in the center of the room now, kind of. Let's walk around the room and get a gauge of that. I think it's sort of difficult to tell by camera. It does seem that the center is actually adjusted in physical space by the laptop that's in the ground. I didn't sweep, I need to do that. I'm not sure what that's going to be, but I want to mark it with what I call dot, which is actually a Kabbalistic word that is also an English word, dot, D-O-T. So D-A-T-T, the Kabbalistic word, and D-O-T, which means knowledge or experience. And my representation of this divine concept, it's actually called a Sephriot in the Kabbalistic tradition, is a Zafu, which to me represents sort of pure experience of an ego. So I'm going to now ritually move the laptop. Maybe that's not the right word, because I've only removed the laptop like that once. But maybe ceremoniously remove it and then remove the dirt here with a nice broom. So I will remove all the dust and there's a nail here actually, probably fell out of that thing. I need to go buy better nails. This is basically what I built this thing with, that box. With this nail is just too small for that. Look how tiny that thing is. I tried to put like 50 of them in there to get it to hold together. Kind of worked. I just need bigger nails. There's like maybe 4 big nails just holding the whole thing together. Basically. Okay. The anchor point has been swept up almost completely. So I will drop, hold on. I will move the perspective to get a better glimpse of the thing we're doing here. Boom. Okay. So I will drop the Sephiroth dot, or my mental consciousness of it, represented by a meditation pillow, which I actually do sit on and meditate on. So I use this as like maybe a discipline seat. Put myself in timeout. Or a thinking seat. Okay, and now the laptop goes on there. The laptop will be used, so it's not going to live here, but for aesthetic purposes, I'm just going to leave it there. And it creates a weird sort of space where I'm going to have to walk. I'm not going to walk over my laptop. So I'll have to be very cautious when I go through the door, but I had to do that anyways because the box was like way over there. And so the door space was cramped anyways. Okay. So I can put the broom and dustpan away now. Maybe change up the perspective a bit. It does have stuff in it, so we'll need to remove that. Excuse me, Zeus. Okay. So I'm going to move this way. And so I want to see, I think that's a good perspective, good view. So I want to arrange these cards here. Okay, so I think to do that, I will move the laptop out of the way, and then I will start arranging cards. It's not going to be a semantic arrangement, meaning that you guys don't need to see what the cards say because it's not going to matter. I'm just going to organize the way that they're already semantically arranged. After putting that back. So the laptop moves to the high ground and I sit on the low ground with my snap-stained jeans here. Break my leg as I get into a really janky half lotus. Good. Okay, so the first thing is the deck of design cards needs to be put back together. This is a sort of rogue card that I found on the ground and it's obviously gotten stained and dirty by floor coffee and grounds and all sorts of stuff. So there's the deck, which I will draw from at some point. But I will sort of move these into place and just make sure they're just generally reorganized. They tend to get moved about quite a lot. Put that on the deck there. Okay, this is also part of the deck. boards while no matter what it says. So I'll put that on the deck. Voxels remains as a important aspect of the HackMatrix. I think I'll move this. I put it on the board for artistic effect, but I don't think that effect is any longer needed. It sort of clutters up the intent of the board, which is design. In fact, this may go on eco gardening, or it may leave the room altogether because I'm not actually doing any VR right now. How do you guys feel about that shot? Let's see, the VR can stay, it's just going to stay here, sort of pushed away. Tiling design board manager simulator in the HackMatrix studio. That's what this is. Okay, that's organized enough for me. It doesn't have to make too much semantic sense at the moment. There is a sort of top to bottom ordering of like most important to least important, and then I don't know what the left or right dimension is. Probably not anything much. It's just a top to bottom organized design board where the most important stuff are at the top. And with that, not quite ready to conclude actually. This is quite comfortable for me to sit here though, even though I have a bad hip at the moment. Maybe from sitting like this, but probably from riding my bike with my dog leash to basically my hip. Whoa, did you guys hear that? That was my leg stuck to what I smell as cedar sap. Because of course, the box itself is probably leaking cedar sap. There's some right there. I suppose that will all go away with staining and sanding if I decide to do that. The box is not even held together appropriately, so I just need to go get nails for it or something. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is probably not blind myself, but I do think I need to move the dot back. So there's dot. And then I need to clean up the cables there. Cable management. So that is very unaesthetic, right? Let's see if I can get my hand there. Right there. The aesthetics are bad. Burn. So let's figure out the electric situation here. I think probably the best thing to do, since that's not consuming power, this isn't consuming power, is just remove everything that's not being used currently. Most of this gets used daily, especially when this is my laptop charger. I get to see this daily. I don't know if you can see this tatami mat. If you can, then that will be part of the aesthetics of the shot here. You can barely see the tatami mat in the corner over there. That's fine. I'll put the chargers on this tatami mat that you can see in the corner over here. Same with the cables. Okay. This isn't being used either. The only thing in use is the lamp. Frankly, it doesn't need to be used either. Removed. I like this a lot, actually. Okay, so I'm going to sweep this area. after I take one of the most important cards that has been featured in HackMatrix, which is it's actually the primary design card that we've been working off of. This is the cave area right here. So I'll put that, usually I put it on the board actually. But it does have some weird scaling issues, where it's not the same scale as the map as far as I can recall, as the artwork on the wall. So I'll just keep it up here at the top, because it is actually one of the most important parts of the HackMatrix design at the moment. Okay, so that means we have no lamps, we have no power stuff. This one should not be getting its own power and polluting the space, so it actually does need power though. So this is the first connection that we'll make to the extension cable, and we'll put the extension cable close to the actual thing that needs the power at the moment. So we can have a sort of algorithm that balances the center of the centroid of the various things that need power, and that's where that thing will live. There's a lot of algorithms that the human mind can think of to do, cable management, but alas, here we are. Okay, let's see what else. I'm just going to be honest, having this extension with the dot here is kind of, it grinds me. I like having the centerpiece and not having something sit here. But it is, I think, a vital part to this temporary, ephemeral design that I'm doing, which is a sort of anchor point on the space. And it kind of makes sense. Actually, it seems that in the, the depth dimension of my house, as you can see, my house goes back depth-wise away from the street. You can see the centroid is actually the centroid of both the dot and the box, because the box really isn't in the center of the room, but if you consider the dimension of the depth dimension of the dot, it is. So, just puts the room a little off balance, but I like it because the design has to account for me, which is streaming, and so the dot is going to sort of represent me. So, speaking of which, maybe I can move it. Maybe I can move it to over here, which is where we're going to work. So the first thing that needs to be done over here. Actually, just thought, what if a robot tried to aesthetically frame the dot that I threw into a sort of aesthetic shot, and that was its job. I throw the dot, and then it tries to position the camera such that it gets an aesthetic shot given the dot space. And sort of center or put it in a magic spot, which is like, the rule of thirds. Then you would have a robot sort of auto-center device that can auto-capture shots, kind of. That would be cool. So anyways, I'm centering on the dot because I'm going to sit there. Oh. Okay, so I'm going to sweep this. And then after that, I'm going to organize the power tatami. I moved everything to the tatami mat. And I'm not going to use everything, but I want to sort of organize it on the tatami mat because there are some things over there that I'm not going to use, so they're going to sit there for maybe longer than a day. Oops. There's a lot of, wood shavings or dust that would be created by sandpaper, but it's being created by just natural shedding of wood fibers. I need to turn off the alarm. Sorry for the loud noise. Okay, I think that not yet, but very close to finishing the stream. That the last part is I want to organize the sort of power area over here after I pick up the dust from where I was just sitting. Let me go do that. just leave that right there. It has an estimate. Move the dot and set. Okay. So this is actually used by not in this room. Sometimes I use extension cables in a room to move this about, the power strip. But at the moment I don't need that, so I'm putting it with a lead wagger. Okay. So I actually don't like having the lamps in the corner like that. I actually like having them in a place where they're going to be used, even though they're not being used. I just move them out of the way. So I'll put this back into sort of position where we were, so I can put the lamp somewhere where I think it should be used. So here is the first lamp. I do think the first lamp should probably go somewhere like here. Or, if I get really tricky, I can probably put it into the thing here. Let me try that. I know I just organized this board, but maybe I can pick it up without disturbing it. Okay, and then see if I can set the mat down. There we go. So it's kind of strange, unless. But the power does escape into the place here, so let's see. See how that even looks. Does it look decent? Does it look weird? I think it looks cool, actually. It looks cool. Okay. So now let's maybe move this. I wonder how well you can see that stream. Okay, you can see that for sure. So I will move this stuff, the deck of cards, to the book here, and then move this a little bit more over here. And then maybe I should make room for the deck of cards, actually. So I can do that. I'll move these things down. Maybe I can move this up. Move that down. And now the deck of cards has some living room on the board itself. And this is a sort of board object, so I think it's fine to put it on the board. So there we are. All right. Maybe I can make a game out of it. I haven't done anything besides use them as like some sort of reference. But let's make a game out of it real quick. So I'm going to play a card, and then I'm going to draw a card or something. Don't fully know. Okay. So I have some nice cards here. One of them is Zen Meditation, which I have actually Zen and Meditation, as you can see. So that's part of the, I guess, design system for HackMatrix, or maybe my process.